I respect gold diggers. I have a lot of respect for women that people love to call gold diggers. And before anyone spirals, I need you to sit down and listen to this video all the way through. What I respect isn't money, it's self-worth. It's the self-trust that comes with that. These women usually have very clear expectations. They have boundaries that don't bend when someone is uncomfortable. They know what kind of life they want, and they refuse to be emotionally bankrupt. They refuse to emotionally bankrupt themselves, hoping that it will magically appear one day. They don't sit in waiting mode. They don't romanticize struggle, and especially not struggle love. Because, no. They don't convince themselves that love should be hard, or that wanting more or having desires makes them shallow. And they thrive because they are decisive. Success loves actions. Success loves decisiveness. And here's the part that people hate admitting about these kinds of women. Women who ask for what they want are far more likely to get it than women who just quietly tolerate years what they don't want. And the outrage around this always comes from two different places. One, men who are attracted to those women but don't have the capacity to meet their standards. And instead of self-reflecting, they moralize. They call her names and pick at her to soothe their ego. And two, the women who settled. Women who compromise on their standards, their visions, their desires, their dreams. And now you're watching a woman who says no to things that they said okay to that feels threatening to them. So they rewrite the story. She has no self-respect. She slipped her way there. She's transactional. I hope you understand. I hope you, energy principle number one. I hope you understand that everything in life is transactional. It doesn't have to be just money. It's energy. You're always there's always a transaction going on. Meanwhile, that same woman might look at them and think, you split bills with a man you don't even admire just to say you're chosen. Different choices, different cost. No one gets to decide what your standards should be. No one gets to tell you what kind of life you're allowed to want. You do not have to justify your desires. And you don't have to water them down to be palatable. And you don't have to shame women who refuse to live small so that others can feel comfortable. Every woman pays something. The only real question is, what are you paying, and is it worth it to you? And women who are called gold diggers, they're operating from their dark feminine. And no, that doesn't mean manipulation, evil, or moral corruption. It just means they have opted out the societal conditioning. That's all it means. That's why they're demonized. They dropped the good girl script. They dropped the be agreeable so you can be chosen program. They dropped the idea that being nice is the same thing as being valuable, because it's not. They stopped outsourcing their worth for approval, and they gave themselves their own worth. These women are audacious, and they're unapologetic in their desires. And they move through life with a quiet entitlement. Not because they feel superior, but because they are self-authorized. They don't need permission. They don't need a permission slip. And here's what people don't like talking about. Men respect audacity because they have tons of audacity. If one thing a man is going to do is have audacity, so they respect it. They respect it and they respect it. They respected another man and they respected another woman. Men are audacious by nature. They go after what they want. And if they have to let you go in the process to getting what they want, oh yes, they do. They will. If you don't serve them in that season no more, a lot of them will. They claim space. They take risks. And they don't ask for permission to desire more. And that's one thing I wish women have more in similarity, we're more of. Like, these qualities in men, women need to take them and be more of this, more audacious. In 2026, I want all my glow goddesses to be more audacious, because this is how you get what you want, and be ruthless with what you want. Like I said, men respect audacity. So when a woman embodies that same unapologetic energy without collapsing, and without collapsing into masculinity, she has it, but she's still extremely feminine. It registers as power and is magnetic as. That's what was lacking in the previous generations. That's why certain women make history and others don't. And now collectively, women are slowly easing their way out of that good girl conditioning. And like I said, this is why audacious women get what they want out of life. Not because you're prettier, not because you're luckier, and not because they played men, but because they stopped negotiating with themselves. The good girl waits, she hopes, she overgives, she proves, and she lowers her standards constantly so she can be seen as virtuous. The dark feminine woman decides, she selects, and she allows herself to want without shame. She understands that she's abundant and that desire itself, it's information. And she understands that abundance is her birthright. So that's why she makes choices from an abundant standpoint, not from a scarcity one. And she understands the principle. If you're in scarcity, it's because you're going to bring that scarcity over here. I'm not in scarcity. So I'm only going to pick from the men that have an abundant life, that match with my mindset of abundance and not scarcity, because I don't believe in that. That's what it signals. And if you respect yourself, you're going to pick what's best for you and the best possible option. And when you do that, you must understand it's going to trigger some people, and some people are going to feel threatened. But that's a good sign, because you're awakening them out of their peasant consciousness. You're awakening them into their king and queen consciousness. Because once a woman drops conditioning, she becomes uncontrollable. She can't be guilted, and she cannot be shamed back into smallerness. And she cannot be convinced that wanting more makes her wrong. So the world calls her names. But power has always been labeled as immorality, especially in women. These women aren't breaking rules. They are questioning who the rules were designed to serve in the first place. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it.